everybody, Jeremy here. How's it going? We have received the Paycheck Protection Program money for every entity except Cake and Cup so far. And I'm really hoping that Cake and Cup will be part of the next kind of round that they just approved late last week. And so we should be able to see that money come back in on Monday is what we're being told. So I should know, next week, hopefully early next week from the bank if Cake and Cup is part of the new funds that have been submitted. This video is to get us excited to think outside of our normal box of operations, sales, how we do things. Start to dream about when we reopen, what that's going to look like, what are things now to set us up for success when we reopen, and just really kind of promoting what we're doing now or what we want to do in the future. So to start, I just want to go through quickly the Paycheck Protection Program and the forgiveness side of it, which will help us kind of lean into this next kind of season for us of doing things differently than what we have been for the past 6 weeks with coronavirus. And even before that, before COVID-19, what was that, BC? Before COVID. So the BC version of our stores and really looking at what do we want to be, come hopefully early May. Hopefully May 10th we're able to get the yellow light. Actually, we don't qualify in yellow light. Hopefully we're getting a different description on what yellow light will be and restaurants will be able to open. So we'll go through it first. So this is a brief overview of the PPP. We got PPP money. With that money, all of it can be forgiven. That's the big thing with the Paycheck Protection Program is it's not necessarily a loan if you use it for certain things. If you use it for certain things, then it's 100% forgiven, which is incredible if we can do that. I feel like it will help us come out of this season with little debt that we're not drowning in, for years to come. So the way to get it forgiven is you have to spend 75% on payroll in order to get it forgiven. That's you have to spend at least 75% on payroll. If you can spend 75% on payroll, then 25% of it is able to be used for utilities and I feel like it's backwards, huh? It's able to be used on rent and utilities. Well, this whole thing you're not even going to be able to, I'm not sure I was going to translate. It's my first time being so you spend 25% on rent, utilities, and business loan interest. If we can do that, that means 100% of it can be forgiven. Pretty clear, right? The second layer to that is full-time employees. So I use tomato pie. So we'll go through for Copper Cup. I feel like you're going to be able to go back to your full-time employees, so this shouldn't even be a conversation that we have to really have an issue. Cake and Cup's the same way. I feel like you're going to go back to your full-time equivalent pretty easily, even just with the operations that you're having now. You're pretty close to that, which is the case for both Copper Cups as well. So we're going to use tomato pie as an example for this, so that I can help us shift our thinking. So for tomato pie, they were previously at 17 full-time employees before COVID. During the 8-week period that we had to spend the PPP money, we have to get back to that full-time equivalent. Or we divide basically what our new full-time equivalent is by our previous full-time equivalent. In this case, we were at 17 for Tomato Pie. Now during this season, we're only at 2 people full-time at Tomato Pie Cafe. When you divide 2 by 17, it gives you 12%. So even though we spent the money correctly on labor and utilities, we only get 12% of our total that we were able to get forgiven. Which means we need to bring this full-time equivalent during this 8-week period all the way back to where it was previously, to normal. If we can do that, we can get more money forgiven during this time, which leads us into opportunity. So let's look at the opportunities that we have. Let's go through it. Let's try to figure out ways that we can spend more money on labor at Tomato Pie Cafe and be able to justify it through labor for Tomato Pie Cafe. So I wrote these boards behind me. They're inspiration boards for me and things that I want to see change, things that we want to do differently, things that we've been wanting to work on and we just haven't. All of that stuff for each store. So we'll go through those quickly. But if it's backwards, oh boy, you're just going to have to read backwards, I guess. So we're going to start. Newport Management Group. There are a ton of things that Newport Management Group wants to do that we haven't been doing that we're going to start working on. So we can bring our office team back. We got Megan back. We got Josh back, and I can come back full time so that we can accomplish things that we've been wanting to do. Keep up with your invoices, keep up with payroll, the normal stuff, but it's not back to 100%. So there's other things that we can work on, which is amazing. We'll keep chipping away at that. If you guys have things that you want Newport Management Group to be doing or working on, we'll add that to our list. Tomato Pie Cafe. I'm done. This is backwards. But I'll go through a list just to try to start thinking differently. So we could bring our soup in-house, our quiche in-house. We could start doing curbside pickup. So open one of the doors that goes out to 501 at the front door, and we can create like this curbside pickup scenario where the customer pulls up and we just run their food out. We can start doing our own deliveries. So we have someone in the building that we're paying to do delivery for us, and customers call in, give us an address, and we actually deliver their food. There's a lot of other things. There's this thing called the Common Hub in Lancaster. So it's kind of this group that put together a lot of different purveyors or people who create products, and they're basically a hub that sell for all of these other businesses. We could become a business on that website and sell our products. That would be one that works really well for Tomato Pie and for Cake and Co. In that realm. For Tomato Pie, one thing that we've talked about doing is Copper Cup sells salads and sandwiches and things like that. But let's have Tomato Pie Cafe start making those salads and sandwiches during this season. We need labor, and Copper Cup needs those products. So I feel like there's just some huge wins in that area. We could start doing catering. So let's start putting together big trays for local businesses. I'm really bummed if you can't read that. It's going to be a little bit weird. But we could start setting up the patio. One cool idea I had was the CARE Act. So let's do free food and delivery to the elderly population, or maybe to nurses or something like that, where we want the labor, so it's just our food cost to make that happen. Brand guidelines. We don't have like clear brand guidelines for Tomato Pie. Let's establish that. Let's create it. So just a lot of different things in those areas that I really want us to work on. Then I have this promotion category. What are things we want to promote? I have this expenses category. What are things that we could do, but that are going to cost us money? Not that we're not going to do them, but it's not going to be forgivable money. It's just going to be expenses we take on. Also, this is a huge category, the future. When we reopen, early May, which is not far away, what are we going to do differently? What are we going to have to do differently? So Tomato Pie is probably the biggest one where we're going to see some changes that are happening. Is that in our hours, our menu, our service style? Do we switch to tablets on the table? Do we switch to no menus? Like, what's the new normal going to be for Tomato Pie Cafe? Seating layouts. We're going to have to spread people out. People aren't going to sit as close as they did. And then for the team, like, are we going to have to temp our team members? Do we need a new uniform during this season? Like, what is that going to look like? So just lots of reopening stuff. So I don't know if you can see the Cake and Cup board. But going through the same thing for Cake and Cup. We've wanted to develop a new cake line. Man, let's have the team come back to start creating that for us. A cookie flight box, the biscuits for Copper Cup. This one is huge. Let's have our bakers work on a recipe for an amazing biscuit. Like Sam and Renee, you guys would be amazing at helping us develop and create this. The rainbow bread at Tomato Pie Cafe. The rainbow bread is incredible. It's a staple that we have, but it is a pain. I gotta go to Stouffer's. It's not that hard. I shouldn't complain about that. But I gotta order it. I gotta pick it up. It's just like it's a hassle. So could we make that ourselves? Being part of the common hub. Another thing that I thought of is a baked oatmeal showdown. So every bakery in Lancaster County thinks they have the best baked oatmeal. So let's do a showdown and figure it out. Open it up to the public, get other local bakeries or Lancaster County-based bakeries to contribute their products, and we'll do a test. Let the customer decide. So I'm excited about that one. So we could reopen our inside sales, let people come in the store to actually see the products. Catering can be bulk orders. Let's do party platters, for offices that are still open, or is there demographics who are looking for those things? Again, kind of a promotion category, expense category, things that we could spend money on that's not forgiven, and then a future. What does their future change and look like? The biggest thing for them is we've just seen a huge increase in their drive-through sales. So how can we make their drive-through sustainable and be efficient and quick? Give them a new kind of espresso area so that they're able to produce the quality and the drink level that we want in a timely manner. The last one is for Copper Cup, and I would say that these are things that we would love to do, but for them, again, going back to our chart here, we don't need to increase their labor significantly more than where they already are to get those funds forgiven. So they're sitting at a different place where it would be more looking at what are things that we want to accomplish, and if we have extra labor, as far as getting back to full-time equivalent, man, let's start tackling some of this stuff. Let's go after things that we've wanted to go after, but we haven't yet. So excited about them as well, but their scenario is a little bit different, more along the lines of like what's left. We needed to get to 5 team members, which is 40 hours a week. So how many hours do we have scheduled? That math isn't right at all. That would be, yeah. So you can hopefully this allows you to start catching the vision of what we want to do. And the way that it would work is we need to get labor at Tomato Pie Cafe Minutes. We need them to get back to 17 full-time employees, which breaks down to, and I should recheck on that, which breaks down to 12 8-hour shifts per day. I'm going to say all of that with a little bit of the final guidelines haven't been released yet on what is forgivable and what isn't, what the exact time frames are. Does it start when we get the money? Does it start when, I don't know. When does the 8 weeks start? Is it still 8 weeks? There's a lot of talk about June 30th, and why is June 30th talked about so much? What's the relevance of that? So there's still a lot of unknown, which is why we didn't meet today to go through it, because I don't have like a final clear detail on that. But this is what we're talking about doing. Taking Cup doesn't need more full-time equivalent employees. They have what they need. But Tomato Pie needs someone. So now let's say Renee is going to work on a biscuit recipe for Tomato Pie Cafe. We are going to hire Renee at Tomato Pie Lidditz to work on a biscuit recipe. We just added one more person to their full-time equivalent. Lizzie is going to come back from Newport Management Group. These are all hypothetical. Lizzie is going to come back from Newport Management Group. She's going to get hired as a team member for Tomato Pie Cafe, and she's going to start working on all of our featured recipes for summer or winter, or as far ahead as we can go. And maybe she does help make drinks while she's there, but she is working on what is that featured menu for summer, and can we still execute that? Let's see another one. The same way like delivery, we need someone there. So we're going to pay someone full time to be there to do deliveries. If we get 2 or 3 deliveries, that's incredible. Hopefully that business grows and we start doing more and more. That same delivery person can do deliveries for Cake and Cup as well. So if someone calls in and they want Cake and Cup delivered, yeah, we can do it because we have a delivery person full time working at Tomato Pie Cafe. Let's see some of these other ones. The patio. If we have team members who are willing to come in and tear down a fence, um, climb trees and trim them, who would do that? Power washing, painting, anything that we could do outside to kind of get that patio going. We could bring a team member in for Tomato Pie Cafe to accomplish that. Something like, do something else. The Common Hub. That's going to be something that is going to take time for us to get ready, to get everything together, to build momentum for that. And maybe you're hiring someone at Tomato Pie Cafe from one of the other stores. So just shifting that labor from this store to this store, from Copper Cup to Tomato Pie, from Newport Management Group to Tomato Pie, to try to get Tomato Pie's full-time equivalent back up. This equation and everything I've drawn out here is for both tomato pies, but really is only for Libbets. For Harrisburg Tomato Pie Cafe, what we're really waiting to see is will tourism come all the way back. So Hershey Park is open, and all the other local things that are in the Harrisburg area, all the convention center events, music events at Hershey, just like the tourism side of what Tomato Pie Cafe in Harrisburg gets to draw from. And the same way with the businesses that surround Tomato Pie Harrisburg. We heavily rely on the lunch sales from that store. And if those local businesses aren't there, we're not going to be able to reopen and be sustainable. And I don't want to reopen for 8 weeks to try to get this money just to have to close again when the money goes away. That feels like we're going to end up spending a lot of money to try to get this money forgiven. It just doesn't feel worth it for us. But if we are seeing an increase in sales and things do turn around pretty quickly and we're reopening early May, that is a totally different scenario, and we're going to have to look at that. And just like every week so far since COVID-19, things change and things are happening, and so we'll readjust and pivot and kind of shift when we need to, and make the necessary steps to keep things going sustainably forever, for the foreseeable future. So hopefully this makes sense to you. Hopefully you're kind of looking at everything a little bit differently. How we can do business differently. What are things that you want to change in your store? How can we start working on those now? How can we get more labor to Tomato Pie Cafe Libbet to help increase their full-time equivalent employees according to this, so we can get as much forgiven as possible.